On today's Strictly Vikings, we're going to be doing a live mock draft. Yes, last week's episode wasn't the best. I promise this week will be better. And if you're watching on the YouTube, we're literally going to pull up a mock draft and run it. And it's going to go off the rails because I'm going to try and get studs on the Vikings. I'm not going to sit at 24. I'm not going to trade back, even though that's probably what the Vikings are going to do. I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to try and get some studs early in this draft. We'll talk about some other Vikings news and notes, draft talk, top 30 visits, sort of things. We have some congratulations to go around in a lot of different sports. News and notes from around the league, players on the move, and of course, we'll end it off with our ChatGPT player of the day. Let's get into it. Today is Wednesday, April 9th, and the NFL draft is just over 2 weeks away. So what better way to get prepared than with our very own mock draft? Actually, I don't know if this mock draft is going to prepare you for much. We will see though. We're going to be doing it live. I'm not pre-recording it. I don't have any of the settings mixed up. I'm going to show you guys the settings and we'll just kind of go from there. But before that, let's get into some news and notes here. First, let's start with the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers seems most likely to be going to the Steelers per Ian Rappaport. So I feel like I've put to bed Aaron Rodgers to the Vikings quite a few times on the show, but it feels like we're inching closer to officially doing it. And no, can we officially do it? No, we can't until it's actually done. But it feels like we officially can right now. But I'm not going to. But it seems like he's a Pittsburgh Steeler. Justin Jefferson says he is confident he will bring the Vikings a Super Bowl. He said it on his stream while playing Madden with the Vikings, with JJ McCarthy. He said he is confident. My thought, that's awesome. That was my first thought. My second thought, what else is he supposed to say? I don't know. I don't know if I will. So I'm glad he's confident. I'm glad he's putting it out there. I'm glad that's where his mind is at. It never changed. It didn't change my opinion on him or didn't make me think his mind was anywhere else. I believe that is like where his mindset has always been. So, but it's always good to hear from your player, your best player in particular, that, yeah, I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. Good to hear sometimes, especially when you're the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are hosting several players on top 30 visits. I'm not going to bore you with all the names, but there is a lot of players that were at TCO Performance Center yesterday. And my thought about this is if you're a rookie or you're going to be a rookie and you're about to be drafted into the NFL and you go to TCO Performance Center, and especially if those guys were here this past weekend in Minneapolis, it was a beautiful weekend. And it was the spring, the sun was out. It's about to be summer, and you go to the facility, you see where you're working out, you see where you would be practicing, you see the drive in every day, and it's beautiful. And I can imagine going to some of these other facilities, and it's not as nice. And all you're thinking about is how nice the Minnesota Vikings staff is, facility is, and why they get straight A's on these report cards year in and year out. That's a big plus for the Minnesota Vikings. Guys want to play in Minnesota. And when you're a state that isn't the warmest, that isn't the biggest of city, that doesn't have the biggest of names, and whatever a Miami or whatever a New York or whatever an LA can have, you need to have those nice things. You need to have the best lunch. You need to have the best dinner. You need to have the best facilities. You need to have a kick-ass locker room. And that's what the Vikings have. And that's a good draw for one, free agents, two, new guys in the NFL. Obviously, the Vikings can only control who they draft, and players can't really choose who they're drafted by. But if guys are like, I want to play in Minnesota, that goes a long ways. And like I said, especially in free agency, guys will remember those visits. Guys will remember how nice Minnesota was and how they want to be there. So that's important for on these top 30 visits for these players to see these facilities and what's going on inside the building. So if there's any way to make up for the snow and for the cold weather that they're going to be in, That's how you do it. But defensive line, offensive line, corner seems to be the most positions that the Vikings are bringing in on visits. Makes sense. Report came out, Vikings have a lot of interest in Gray Zabel out of NDSU. Why not? I mean, why not? That would be, so we'd be going from left to right here. Darisaw, stud. Zabel, if we drafted him at 24, probably, I don't know if he'll be there at 24. He's going around that range. Maybe we'll see in the mock draft if he's there. Zabel, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, Brian O'Neill. 4 out of 5 white guys. I feel like that's a recipe for success on the offensive line. The white guys, they kind of have that's what they do in the NFL. You don't want a wide receiver room of all white guys. You know what I mean? You don't want a running back room of all white guys. O-line, all white guys, that could be a plus. Darisaw is obviously the best out of all of them. Obviously, it doesn't make a difference whatsoever. But that would actually just be kind of crazy if it was like that. Gray Zabel completing this offensive line would be huge for the Minnesota Vikings. That would be, I mean, that's like a JJ McCarthy would have the same system in college almost. Just a kick-ass O-line, 2 solid, really good running backs. You know, they're not the A-plus running backs, but B-plus running backs in the NFL, downhill runners, veteran runners that JJ McCarthy can hand the ball off to. And then, of course, you have all the weapons on the outside that I don't need to go into detail for. But that's a recipe for success for a rookie quarterback. I say it with air quotes because he's not, but he technically is. Siobhan Ravel is meeting with the Vikings this week as well. Big corner. We highlighted him earlier on an earlier podcast about how he could be a fit for the Vikings. Long cornerback coming off an injury, which isn't always ideal, but he had a great season 2 seasons ago before he got hurt. And last thing for the Vikings, Terrion Arnold, Detroit's corner, Terrion Arnold switched to number 6 in order to honor Kyrie Jackson. Fantastic move by him. And it's a bummer that I have to like Arnold now because I don't like anyone on Detroit, Chicago, Green Bay, name them, don't like them. And it sucks that I have to root for Terrion Arnold now because that is a class act move. The two played together at Alabama. Lions had a lot of number changes, actually. Jameson Williams went back to number 1. All stuff you're going to notice week 1 that just like totally flew over your head in the offseason. But great move by Terrion Arnold there. All right. Let's look around some other leagues and the NFL as well. We got some congratulations to do. Paige Beckers, congratulations. Hometown kid, Minnesota hero. I got the privilege of sharing the sideline with Paige. We have a Pro-Am team here in Minneapolis, Twin Cities Pro-Am, one of the best Pro-Ams in the entire country. If you've never been out, I would highly recommend coming out. Consistent NBA talent, Division I, G League, consistent talent, week in, week out. Anyway, two years ago, we got Paige to be our coach. I was the coach at the time. We got Paige to be our assistant coach, so to speak. She was just kind of sitting on the bench. We got Jalen Suggs to play. So 2 Minnesota basketball icons. Paige is very humble, down to earth, great person. Didn't have a lot of interaction with her. But what I did, and from what I could tell, just a fantastic human being. Congratulations to her on winning the NCAA championship. She fought back from 2 torn ACLs. I think one was worse than an ACL, but she fought back. And there was a video of her that came out this week, her saying 5 years ago, what are you going to be doing in the next 5 years? And she said, hopefully walking off the court with a national championship and getting ready to be the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. And she is literally doing just that. And I bet if you asked a lot of people what she was going to be doing in 5 years back then, they would probably tell you that exact same thing. But it takes a lot of work, a lot of consistency in order to get it done. And that's exactly what she did. She got it done. So huge congratulations to her, Minnesota legend. And I can't wait to see what she does in the WNBA because she is a real-time hooper. She is one of those females out there that, you know, all this hate online about female basketball and what it is and what it isn't. She is one of those girls out there that could shut a lot of guys up about women's basketball. So congratulations to her. Alex Ovechkin, congratulations. Fantastic way to do it. He didn't want to do it on an empty netter the night before. He wanted to get an actual goal. He did it in the most Ovi way possible. The celebration was perfect. Just an insane record to beat the all-time goal record. Wayne Gretzky held it. But the fact that Wayne Gretzky still has all of those points more than him is pretty insane. I mean, I don't think there's more of an undisputed GOAT in sports than Wayne Gretzky right now. I think he's got the lock on that, and he might forever have the lock on that. Let's go. Florida. Congratulations. You led for 1 minute of that game. I had Houston. I was confident I wasn't confident, but I was like feeling good the entire game. That was a weird noise. Feeling good the entire game. And then the last, 2 minutes, just a meltdown from Houston. Couldn't get a shot off. Didn't get a shot off in the last minute and 30. 3 possessions, 3 turnovers. You got to get shots. You just got to put the ball at the hoop, especially when you're Houston, and that is what you're known for, is rebounding the basketball. I don't know why you just don't ISO and just have everybody attack the rim to try and get a board. That's literally Houston's best offense, and the one time they ran a set play was the last play of the game, and they just couldn't execute it. And that's why they don't run set plays, because that's the stuff that happens. Anyway, congratulations to Florida. March Madness. The Final Four was great. 3 great games, but other than that, kind of a bummer tournament, I feel like. Just a lot of chalk. All right, let's go some other news and notes here from around the NFL. Trey McBride becomes the highest paid tight end in NFL history. 4 years, $76 million. It's a lot of money for a tight end. Worth it? Yeah, probably. Trey McBride is an absolute beast. And anybody who signs contracts nowadays are usually instantly the highest paid. Congratulations to Trey McBride. Panthers are signing 6'9" former college basketball player Colin Granger to play tight end. All I can say is that boy is an athlete. If you can play one sport in college and then just flip and then go professional in another, that is top point. You're already top of the 0.00000% athletes in the world. You're above that if you're doing one sport in college, switch to a different sport professionally. I mean, that is insane work. Whether he makes the team, we'll see. But still, the fact that he doesn't have a shot, it's crazy. And, Jimmy Graham, and there's been other college basketball players that have gone on to have good NFL careers. So we'll see what happens there. All signs are pointing to the Browns selecting Travis Hunter at number 2 overall. I feel like that would be the right pick for them. If they're not in love with Shador, don't do it. If they like Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett would be crazy. Maybe that gives you the confidence to, they signed Myles Garrett, so they're not going to move him. But Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter would wreck games. That's all I can say. That would 100% wreck games. But Travis Hunter is going to put more butts in the seats. He's going to sell more jerseys, more of a franchise player than probably Abdul Carter would be. Shador Sanders pro day. That boy's patting the ball. And people have been kind of go back and forth on this. Is it a bad thing that he was patting the ball, or is it a thing you just kind of look over? I don't know what NFL teams are looking. I feel like it's a bad thing. I got told not to pat the ball in like 5th grade, and I stopped doing it ever since then. So I don't know if it was just like a nervous tick for Shador that he was doing it, but we'll see. I don't think it's not going to tank his draft stock just because he's patting the ball at his pro day. But it was just something to talk about in a world in the NFL where we have nothing to talk about right now. Trey Lance signing with the Chargers. If you go high enough in the draft, you are going to get paid for a long time usually. As long as you are able to play, you will get paid to play, depending on where you were drafted. First round picks. You see it all the time. Blank, former first round pick blank is signing with whoever. And then whenever you say former first round pick, that means they just suck now. Because you would be listing their accomplishments if they actually had some. But the fact that they don't is you instantly go to former first round pick. And that just means they're buns. Point blank, period. If you're saying former first round pick for anybody that you signed, they obviously don't have any other accomplishments to be named. Case Keenum is signing with the Bears. The Vikings could have done a magical thing here. Why would you not bring in Case Keenum? I think Case Keenum could have been the only backup quarterback in the league to sell jerseys for their team. I'm convinced people would have bought Case Keenum jerseys if the Vikings would have signed him. I mean, he's one of the most polarizing players in Vikings history. Just from that one season, not even from that one season, just that one play, the Minneapolis Miracle. He is forever a legend in this city, state, and I'm convinced people would buy his jersey if he was the backup. If you put his jersey in the team store, people would buy it. Especially if JJ McCarthy started sucking and Case Keenum started to play, people would buy that 1,000%. But the Vikings whiffed, and they let him go to a division rival. If the Bears beat us with, I should do a punishment for this. If the Bears beat us with Case Keenum playing quarterback, I need to do something. I need to come up with a punishment, maybe like a Portillo's eating challenge or something. I don't know. Maybe give me some recommendations. Joel Milton is a Cowboy. That's a pretty beast pickup. Joe Milton, he can sling it. But everywhere Joe Milton has gone, he's had one good game, and then he follows that up with a bunch of reasons why he is not an NFL quarterback. So people are going to get hyped about this. He's going to the Cowboys. He's probably not going to play. I hope he doesn't play because that means Dak is hurt. But I don't want Dak to get hurt. Maybe Dak will just suck and then he'll get some playing time. We'll see. But Joe Milton, man, he can sling it. I think he can throw an orange 70 yards. Pretty impressive. How that translates to an NFL game, I have no idea. But Joe Milton could be a vibe in Dallas. Could be a vibe. And someone will buy his jersey. 1,000% someone will buy his Dallas Cowboys jersey. Heck, I might even. No, I will not at all. That's it for news and notes. All right, let's get into this mock draft. If you're watching on the YouTube, I'm about to pull up the screen right now. Okay, pulled it up. So it's me on the left, and it's just the mock draft here. Let's see if I can zoom in here to help you guys out a little bit. Okay, maybe not that much. All right, we'll just keep it here for right now. If you're watching on the YouTube, obviously you can see the settings here. For people listening, I'm going to go over the settings right about now. Let's see here. Public versus PFF board. So I got PFF higher than the public just because the public drafts can get a little crazy. I'm going to move that a little bit higher to PFF. Care for positional value, I got it less. Draft for needs, I got it about in the middle. Randomness, I got it less. My one team is the Minnesota Vikings, so that means I will only be selecting for the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to see what the other teams pick, obviously. And if I want to pause the draft, maybe trade up. Like I said, I'm going to get wild with it. We're going to pause the draft and try and trade up. Trading up might include some players. No hard feelings to any of the Vikings players. But maybe you're on the trading block because maybe I want other guys. All right, let's see if I can zoom in here. Make it a little bigger for you guys. I tried messing around with the stuff beforehand. I don't know. I might just have to go back to what I was at. I'm just going to keep it here. All right, let's start draft here. We're going to go Titans first overall. They went Abdul Carter. This is just, we got Abdul Carter first, and then McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona, went second. See, that's just not going to happen. See, that's how I don't know how to get around this. All right, let's go back to the settings. We're already going to restart this mock draft here because that is just not going to happen at all. Random list needs to be less. Draft for needs, like public versus PFF draft board. Okay, maybe I just need to go public more. All right, let's try that. Start draft here. Tennessee Titans select Abdul Carter. Okay, that's fine. As long as it's not McMillan here. All right, Travis Hunter went second overall. Okay, that's fine. Mason Graham went third. Ashton Jeanty went fourth. That is insane. That could definitely happen, though. He went fourth to the Patriots. That was going to be one of the guys I wanted to trade up for. Am I going to now? Absolutely not. Obviously, I can't. The Patriots have already selected him. But if I wanted to get crazy, that was kind of one of the guys I was looking at. McMillan went 5th to the Jaguars. Will Campbell went 6th to the Raiders. Cam Ward went 7 to the Jets. Jahdae Barron went 8th to the Panthers. Tyler Warren went 9th to the Saints. The only thing I don't like about this, the PFF simulator, is that I'd like to see the players remaining. So, obviously, we're looking at D-line. Mason Graham already went. That would have been a guy that I would have been interested if he would have fell. D-line, secondary. So, Will Johnson is still on the board. Corner out of Michigan. That might be a good pick. So maybe looking at the teams who need corner, I mean, everybody needs corner in the NFL here. San Francisco at pick 11. Do I want to draft Will Johnson at pick 11? I don't know. Let's just resume the draft and see what happens here. Chicago Bears. They went tackle Membo from Mizzou. Jihad Campbell went 11th to the 49ers, the linebacker out of Alabama. Mike Green from Marshall went to the Cowboys. Will Johnson went 13 to the Miami Dolphins. That was a guy that would have been a nice target. So we're at pick 14 here. Malachi Starks, 14 to the Colts. Boston College edge rusher, don't know how to pronounce the name. Kenneth Grant went 16. That is a guy that I really want the Vikings to draft. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle from Michigan. That would have been a great pickup. Bengals here. We're 7 picks away from the Vikings. Matthew Golden to the Bengals, a guy the Vikings don't need. Josh Simmons to the Seahawks. Emeka Egbuka to the Buccaneers. That would have been a great pickup for the Vikings. Why not Emeka Egbuka? Luther Burden, Kelvin Banks, Mikael Williams, and the Green Bay Packers selecting Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. So now some guys here on the big board for the Vikings. We got Walter Nolan, interior defensive lineman from Mississippi. James Pierce, edge rusher from Tennessee. Omarion Hampton, Siobhan Ravel, Gray Zabel, a guy I talked about. Derek Harmon, Trey Amos, Xavier Watts, Darius Alexander. All some guys we have highlighted from previous podcasts. Let's look at the trades here. What can we do to get some more picks? So I'm gonna go to the first round kind of slow, but then after that, the Vikings second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever we have, I'm just gonna do the Vikings pick. I'm gonna speed up the draft, and we're just gonna go straight to the Vikings. The Rams want to trade. They have pick 26. Ravens have pick 27. Detroit has pick 28, 29. So these are the teams interested. So pretty much all the teams behind us are interested. What if we move back 7 spots? No, let's move back. So let me look at the guys that I want. I would take Walter Nolan. I would take Siobhan Ravel. I would take Gray Zabel. I would take Derek Harmon. So 4 guys. So let's see what happens if we move back 3 spots. So let's go to pick 25, 26, 20. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go to pick 27. One of those guys would be on the board. So we're going to get 27. We're going to get 59. We're going to get 91. And we're going to give up 24 and 97. They're saying that trade will not be accepted. All right. What if we give up our third comp pick and we get to move to the second round? Trade accepted. Okay, here we go. So we got pick 27 and pick 59. We gave up pick 24 and pick 97. So we move up a lot. We get into the second round by just moving back 3 spots. Let's see who these people take. The Ravens, with our pick, select Jalon Walker, a guy we wouldn't have drafted. Walter Nolan goes to the Texans. Colson Loveland goes to the Rams. All right, should we trade back again? Our guys are still there. Siobhan Ravel, Gray Zabel, Derek Harmon. Let's see who's interested. Pick 29, we could move back. Let's go to pick 30. Why not? No, let's go to 29. I still want one of those 3 guys. We're going to go to pick 29. We're just going to load up on the picks here. So 29, they're moving up 2 spots. Give me 128, 139. We'll give up 139. Oh, man. What are they? Oh, wait. Give me. What do I want here? Okay, so we're moving back 2 spots. We're moving from 27 to 29. Give me 128. Give me 205. Man. All right, hold up. Let's try this. Now we're doing all high picks. Okay, what if you gave me 61 and I gave you a third rounder next year? Offer it. All right, trade accepted. We gave up a third rounder next year, but we got picks 29 and 61. All right, let's keep going here. See who the Commanders draft. James Pierce, a guy we wouldn't have drafted, and the Lions select Omari and Hampton. Gray Zabel, Derek Harmon, and Siobhan Revelle are all on the board. And the picks that we have, what picks do we have here? I want to know who. Oh, man, how do I check what picks we have? I don't know, but I think it's about time we draft a player. Should we go Gray Zabel or Derek Harmon? Should we just complete that offensive line? I feel like defensive line is a little more deep in this year's draft. Or should we just trade again? Let's just trade again. Why not? Let's just go to pick 31. Chiefs are interested. Give me 63. You get 29. And 139 and next year's 4th. Let's offer. Okay. They didn't accept it. Let's go 4th round next year. And I'll give you. So we have picks 29, 59, 61, 139, and 187. What if I give you a 2027 second round pick? No. What if I give you a 3rd round pick? All right, 2027 3rd round pick. Didn't get accepted. All right, I'll throw in pick 187 this year. All right, we got traded. Who cares about pick 187? I want picks now. So now we have 3 second round picks, I believe. All right, let's see who the Chiefs draft. Chiefs draft Gray Zabel, guy I would have wanted. And the Bills draft, where'd it go? And the Bills drafted Nick Surton. All right. I think we're going Derek Harmon, first player. We're going to go Derek Harmon, and we'll still have picks 59, 61, and 63. Wow. All right. We're going to go Derek Harmon. Selecting Derek Harmon, and the Eagles round out the first round with Siobhan Revelle. Oh, I didn't click 7 rounds. Oh, no. Hey, overall draft grade, A, top 31% of the Vikings drafts. So we got pick, we got 27, which we turned into 29, which we turned into 31. So we moved back 7 spots, but we got 3 second round picks for moving back. But we gave up some round 3 picks as well. But the round 3 picks, I just don't care about. You know what I mean? All right, let me do this again. And let me make this 7 rounds because I'm dumb. But let me just go turbo here. I'm not going to do the picks because you've already seen my skills on who I'm able to draft. All right, here we go. Pick 24. Minnesota Vikings. Walter Nolan is there. I feel like that's a guy we'd want. Siobhan Revelle, Gray Zabel. All right, same guys are here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to trade again, but we're going to trade with the Chiefs. We're just going to move back 7 spots, and we're going to get We're going to get 2 second round picks. We got it. We gave up 24 and a second round next year for 2 second rounders this year. Good with me. And we're going to select Derek Harmon. All right, we're in a similar spot here. Now we're on. So we didn't get 2. We got a 63rd, which is a second rounder, and then we got 66, which is top of the 3rd. All right, couple of guys. So we have Derek Harmon right now. We're gonna go. There's a couple guys we can pick from. A couple guys I like. Quishton Judkins, Omar Norman Lott, defensive lineman from Tennessee. I like that pick. I like I like Damian Martinez from Miami, running back. You know what? Let's get a running back. Christian Judkins. Be an electric pick. Aaron Jones, we extended him, but does that mean he's going to be here? I don't know. All right. Why not? Let's draft Judkins. And let's draft. We should have went Shamar Turner. I should have got him. Give me. What else do I want? You know what? We're going to go another D lineman. Because why not? We need a corner. Who are the corners around here? Not really ones up here. They all kind of went, huh? There's ones later in the draft that I like, though. All right. Give me Norman Lott. Why not? Defensive lineman. Here we go. Oh, definitely. Oh, Andrew Makuba. We highlighted him earlier. I love this dude. Safety out of Texas. He is a playmaker. We would get him with our comp pick. I would love that pick. Isaiah Bond, Trevor Etienne. Now, give me Makumba. It's a great pick. We got 2 more picks remaining, 139 and 187. Dylan Gabriel's here, Trevor Etienne. Damn, we should have waited to draft a running back, low key. I still wish we had that first one. I didn't click 7 rounds. It's my bad, folks. Khalil Mullins. Elijah Huzzy. Here we go. This is a great corner. Fundamental guy. He would fit perfect with the Minnesota Vikings. Last pick, Curtis Rourke. Max Brosmer. It's not a bad pick, especially because the Vikings need a quarterback. Jay Higgins from Iowa. Who else? Man, Samuel Brown, wide receiver from Miami. A lot of wide receivers, a lot of quarterbacks, center. Man, you know what? Let's just go let's go Brosmer from the Gophers. Why not? Let's see how we ended up here in this draft. Grading your draft. We got an A-, top 49%. Brosmer, the only C- pick, which I agree with. I mean, that was just kind of but Elijah Huzzy I like. Makumba I like, A-. Omar Norman Lott, Christian Judkins, Derek Harmon. Man, I would be satisfied with this draft. The Vikings should just hire me, honestly. I appreciate you guys for tuning into my mock draft. A mock draft that will go down in the history books of the Minnesota Vikings. Probably not, but why not? All right, let's end it off with our ChatGPT player of the day here. Who do you guys think it's going to be? Today, I think it's going to be, it's been going with some guys that I could easily get. I'm going to go, name the most random Vikings player. I'm going to go Chester Taylor. Tahi Johnson. He was a fullback for the Minnesota Vikings back in the early 2000s. Never would have got that. And I know you wouldn't have either. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Love as always. Make sure to tune in next Wednesday. The draft is right around the corner, guys. And I am pumped. Hope you guys have a good one.